Panasonic has always prided itself on an engineering-first approach, and this year they've really stepped up to deliver what could very well be the best home cinema TV of 2025 and possibly the best TV of the year. So let's dive in. And welcome back to the AVForums YouTube channel. I'm Phil Hinton, and with over 2 decades of experience reviewing and calibrating TVs, it's a pleasure to bring you our in-depth look at the Panasonic latest flagship OLED TV, the Z95B. And thanks to everyone who has subscribed recently. It really is appreciated because it helps us build the channel and provide you with more content. And if you like what we do here, then please remember to click the like button and also consider subscribing. We're also planning lots more TV and AV content, and we'll also be unveiling my brand new testing room here very soon, so get yourself subscribed. Also remember that we publish our TV reviews on AVForums first, and this review was available from the 3rd of August 2025 before appearing here on YouTube a few days later. So why not bookmark AVForums homepage so you can see our reviews as soon as they are published. First impressions, and the Z95B looks great. It's got a new aesthetic to it. It's a complete redesign from last year's Z95A, and the screen surface actually sits on top of a thicker bezel that's covered in fabric that subtly houses the speaker system within. The central metal round swivel stand is available on the 55 and 65 inch models and is a welcome touch for those who appreciate a little bit of flexible movement. For wall mounters, there's also a separate power cable, which is a small but significant plus point. The stand on the 77 incher doesn't swivel and is a slightly different design. But it's not just about looks. This new chassis design is integral to Panasonic's proprietary thermal flow cooling system. This has been inspired by racing car design, and it's engineered to maximise heat dissipation from this new panel, allowing for brighter and more consistent HDR image quality. And that leads us nicely to the heart of the Z95B, its panel. The Z95B employs LG Display's brand new Primary RGB Tandem 4-stack OLED panel. Yes, it's the same panel that's found in the LG G5 and the Philips OLED Plus models for 2025, but Panasonic's engineering truly does set this TV apart. This 4-stack approach promises superior luminosity and wider colour volume, which our measurements will soon confirm a little bit later in this review. We tested the 55 inch model priced at £2,499 in the UK, with 65 and 77 inch versions also being available. Under the hood, we've got Panasonic's most advanced AI processor, the HCX Pro AI Processor Mark II. This delivers optimal image and sound quality, supporting all of the major HDR formats, including HDR10+, HDR10, HLG, and Dolby Vision IQ with precision detail. As always, our testing rig includes portrait displays, Calman colour calibration software, a Meridio 7 generator for generating patterns, a Klein K10A meter which is profiled to a Jetty Spectraval 1511 high-res spectroradiometer. I've been doing this for over 20 years and I'm trained and certified by the ISF, THX and PVA, so you can trust these numbers. Out of the box, the filmmaker mode on the Z95B is simply excellent for SDR. We're seeing delta E errors that are well under 2, which is significantly below the visible threshold of 3, meaning you're not going to see any errors at all. Gamma also tracks well to BT 1886. For Rec 709, tracking is also very good for saturation with only minute hue shifts in magenta, green and yellow, and again this is utterly unnoticeable to the human eye. While Calman AutoCal isn't yet working as it should, the Z95B provides all of the granular controls needed to achieve reference level calibration, and post-calibration our delta E errors for grayscale were well under 0.5, which is miles below the visible threshold. Our Rec 709 saturation points were almost perfect. Moving to HDR, the Z95B truly shines. In filmmaker mode, we measured a peak brightness at an astonishing 2223 nits on a 10% window, and full screen measured in at 295 nits. And these are very competitive numbers and virtually indistinguishable from the LG G5 that we tested earlier. Panasonic has changed the panel luminance control as well, which defaults to 70 for accurate tone mapping. You can obviously push it higher, and if you do so, you will over-brighten and clip details, so it's best to be left where it is. However, where it is handy is if your particular panel is a little bit darker or brighter to the standard, then you can make that adjustment to that. The tone mapping also adjusts to the mastering display metadata, so if you feed it a film with 1000 nits maximum metadata, it will then map to 1000 nits. Send it 4000 nits and it will map to the peak brightness of the TV set and roll off to preserve the details and APL performance. If the HDR10 content doesn't have any metadata, it will do the same as 4000 nits, and that's mapped to the display capabilities and a slight roll off. You can also manually select the clipping point and the threshold that you want to clip at within the menu system. Useful for gamers who want to follow HDIG, or if you're a professional looking to use this for colour grading and HDR grading. Wide colour gamut performance is equally impressive. We hit 100% XY and UV for DCI P3 and a strong 78% and 82% for XY and UV for BT 2020. You can see an illustration of colour volume and an explanation of those measurements in my full written review at AVForums. The spectral power distribution confirms the presence of a primary RGB Tandem 4-stack OLED panel, showing distinct RGB wavelengths that add more colour purity and a welcome improvement over previous WRGB panels, although QD OLED still holds an edge here in this specific metric. In terms of overall performance, the Z95B delivers stunning SDR and HDR10 image quality. Blacks are deep, shadow detail retrieval is exceptional, and colours are natural and lifelike. Motion reproduction is also excellent, correctly applying pull down for 24 frames per second content with IFC off. Upscaling is also top notch, making even lower resolution content look as good as it possibly can. However, no TV is perfect, and at the time of this review in July 2025 and the video going out in August, the Z95B does exhibit minor Dolby Vision issues. Specifically, some posterisation and gradational problems at low level brightness when the set is transitioning from black, and this is similar though significantly less severe to what we saw on the LG G5. It's subtle and noticeable in specific test scenes like A Quiet Place Day 1, but HDR10 content remains absolutely pristine. We've reported this to Panasonic and we hope for a firmware fix very soon, but as always, you should never buy on promised future updates. Now, let's talk about sound. And for years, enthusiasts have questioned why Panasonic includes a full built-in sound system on their TV. Well, the truth is that the majority of consumers out there buying TVs buy a high-end TV like this because they want an all-in-one solution. And I can tell you that the Z95B's audio, which is tuned by Technics, is a significant step up from last year's model. Now, that doesn't mean that Panasonic is ignoring enthusiasts. However, they used to release a TV with the top-end panel and no sound system a few years ago, and they just didn't sell. So, while enthusiasts out there may be right in saying, why am I paying for a sound system that I don't need? Actually, when that option was available, nobody actually went and bought it. So in Panasonic's eyes, they're releasing a TV for everyone, and if you need the sound system, great. If you don't need the sound system, well, it's still there anyway. The new driver positioning and thermal flow engineering have created a more spacious and immersive Dolby Atmos experience on this TV. Dialogue is clear and the soundstage is really quite nice and wide. Now, it won't replace a dedicated sound system, and that's to be expected. There's no speakers behind you, so the effect that you get is a pseudo effect at best, but it's well above average for a built-in sound solution. And you do have the added bonus as well that you can add an external subwoofer to the TV as well, which is a good thing, because on our testing, if you push the volume that little bit too high, then we did have an issue with minor rattle from the subwoofer that's built into the back of the TV, and that could be because that subwoofer has had to move for the thermal flow system. For our comparison testing, Peter Tyson kindly supplied us with an LG G5 and Samsung S95F at 55-inch screen sizes, which is the same as the Panasonic that we got here for review. And we also had a 55-inch BRAVIA 8 Mark II from Sony, and of course last year's Panasonic Z95A, which Panasonic kindly sent out so we could do some A/B testing as well. If you're thinking about buying a new TV this year, then please consider supporting our channel here by using petertyson.co.uk for your next purchase. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you to Peter Tyson for sending the TVs. We start with the Z95B and Z95A, and the new RGB Tandem Panel in the Z95B offers subtle but noticeable improvements, particularly in the high APL scenes and colour brightness. Specular highlights have more pop, and there's an increased sense of contrast and dynamic range. Just above black performance is also improved. The new audio system is also a clear win for the B model. And talking about black performance, there is virtually no overshoot now because Panasonic are using the diagonal dithering. And to be honest with you, I've sat up really quite close to the TV and was not able to see that dithering at all, even in a pitch black room with really dark content on screen. So after that, we then set about comparing with the Samsung S95F QD OLED, and both are incredibly close to each other in filmmaker mode. The Panasonic often retains that little bit more brightness and detail in the specular highlights, where the S95S can sometimes clip that detail. The Panasonic also has an edge in upscaling. It looks cleaner and more natural compared to the Samsung's slightly sharper but more digital appearance. For gaming, the S95F offers 4 HDMI 2.1 ports at 40 gigabits per second, whereas the Z95B only has 2. But also in audio, the Panasonic yet again wins here with its built-in audio system. Next up, we put the Z95B up against the LG G5, and this is a fascinating comparison given that both of these TVs share the same Primary RGB Tandem Panel. While peak brightness and specular highlight pop are virtually identical, Panasonic's processing offers a little bit more natural and organic looking film grain compared to the LG G5's slightly over-processed look, thanks to its contrast-based sharpening. The Panasonic's HDR10 performance also has a clear edge, delivering pristine cinematic results, although it does have some minor Dolby Vision quirks that we've already noted. For gamers, the G5 offers 4 HDMI 2.1 ports at full bandwidth, 48 gigabits per second, but the Z95B does hold its own with an accurate true game mode and competitive input lag. In terms of audio, once again, the win goes to Panasonic. And finally, we put the Panasonic up against its biggest rival, the Sony BRAVIA 8 Mark II. And in our testing, the Z95B generally offered a more dynamic image, especially in high APL scenes, which appeared to be brighter and more impactful than the BRAVIA 8 Mark II, which is no surprise given that the Panasonic is the brighter performer here. Both are excellent with image processing and motion, though the Sony maintains a very slight edge compared to the Panasonic, being able to handle complex film content and just look that little bit smoother. For cinematic immersion, the Z95B is available in a 77-inch screen size, and that does give it an advantage over Sony's 65-inch maximum for this model. So, what's our conclusion on the Panasonic Z95B? Well, for watching SDR movies, it's simply exceptional. The out-of-the-box accuracy, coupled with superb motion and upscaling, delivers that classic cinematic experience that we've come to expect from Panasonic. Blacks are deep, shadow detail is excellent, and colours are natural and vibrant, with skin tones, for instance, beautifully rendered and looking lifelike. The excellent built-in sound system really does seal the deal for many out there, giving it an impressive all-in-one package. When it comes to HDR movies, the Z95B really does excel. It's a home cinema enthusiast dream TV here. Its deep, fluid blacks and outstanding shadow detail enhance the realism of every scene. The midtones are vibrant, and thanks to the RGB Tandem Panel, colours are also superb, offering impressive brightness, volume and accurate saturation points, which are outstanding for HDR playback. Film grain is also presented naturally and organically, preserving that director's intent and preserving the way that the film was originally captured. Well, we did note some minor Dolby Vision posterisation issues at the time of this review, and we sincerely hope for a fix. HDR10 performance is absolutely flawless. For gamers, the Z95B is a very capable TV. It supports 4K 144Hz for PC gaming and 4K 120 for the latest consoles, including Dolby Vision HDR from the Xbox Series X. You get two full bandwidth HDMI 2.1 ports with support for AMD FreeSync Premium and NVIDIA G-Sync, VRR, ALM and EARC. The True Game Picture preset ensures accurate visuals, and input lag is impressively low at 12.6 milliseconds at 4K 60, which then drops to 8.6 milliseconds with 60Hz refresh activated in the game's menu, and it further reduces again with a blistering 4.8 milliseconds with a true 120Hz signal. So, should you buy the Panasonic Z95B? Well, if you're looking for the ultimate TV for home cinema viewing, paired with a genuinely good Dolby Atmos sound system tuned by Technics, and you're a casual gamer, then yes, this is probably the flagship that you should go for this year. All the competing flagship TVs this year offer something for everyone. Making the choice is really a tough one, and it truly comes down to your individual use cases. But for its stunning out-in-the-box SDR and HDR image quality, enhanced by Panasonic's engineering expertise, and the new RGB Tandem OLED panel, the Z95B delivers HDR playback that ensures spectacular highlight detail, midtones and shadows, and producing some of the very best HDR that we've seen from any of the flagships in 2025. And given most users still watch far more SDR content than HDR, you can also rest assured that the Panasonic offers superb accuracy and superb image quality in its filmmaker mode. For many, this will be the TV to beat in 2025, and it easily gets our best in class for cinematic image quality. But will it be TV of the year? Thank you very much for watching the review as always, and please do consider liking and subscribing, and of course join me for the next TV review very soon. Thanks for watching.